I'm a grunt, so I'm going to stay on the ground. You don't mind. I want to thank you for having me here. The first thing I want to do is I want to thank you people who have served in the military or who have friends or relatives who served in the military, especially those veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice that did not return. Keep them in your prayers always. In 1968 and 69, when I came back from Vietnam, while I was in Vietnam, I realized I had the chance to make a difference. That difference was I wanted to come home. Therefore, I had to make a difference. I made the difference by stepping up and facing every challenge that was given to me. Some of those challenges and some of those actions that I took were rewarded by medals. Okay. The real reward was from the lives that I saved. The young men who I knew, I was somewhat instrumental in getting them home. And very thankful for those who made it easier for me to get home. Believe me, I had my life saved many times. But I couldn't understand when I was there why people were getting killed around me and not me. God's plan. God's plan. I made a difference. You can make a difference. Let me tell you how I made a difference. When I landed at El Toro Air Force Base in California, I was escorting bodies back in caskets. The Berkeley students at that time were throwing lettuce and tomatoes at us through the fence. Some of the Marines who I was with were very angry. I was extremely angry. But I said to myself, you need to turn that around somehow. You need to do something. Years later, when I went to college, I became a veterans counselor to counsel not only the veterans who were trying to get into college, but those college students, to let them know it's okay. We weren't baby killers. We were defending our country. Don't throw tomatoes at us. A lot of them agreed. They said it was just Berkeley, it wasn't them. But I went around as much as I could helping the veterans get veterans benefits, getting into school, but also telling the college students who didn't serve, you got to respect us. We were your age. We were kids. We were from Claymont, Delaware, Altoona, Pennsylvania, Lancaster. We were from small towns. We were from big cities, Detroit, Cleveland. We were regular guys and women. We weren't special in any way. We were just like you. We were kids. Years later, after I finished college, part of God's plan, I went to work for Governor Mike Castle in Delaware and Governor Tom Carper. I had a chance to make a difference. I helped research and write legislation for veterans' benefits. One of the things that we accomplished, our team, was the building of the Veterans Cemetery. It's a beautiful place to rest our vets. Legislation to help veterans get welfare when they need it, to help the families of veterans get benefits. Anything that related to social services, we were involved in. When I became the personnel director for the Department of State, every opportunity we had, we wanted to help the veterans and their families. Not just the veterans, but their families. And at that time, there was children who were the children of vets who needed help. I had the opportunity, part of God's plan for me, to give one of the first televised interviews about Agent Orange in the early 70s. Agent Orange was a terrible poison called dioxin, and they said it didn't hurt us when they sprayed it on us. Well, when you saw what it did to the plants and to the grass and so forth, you knew that was a lie. So we talked about that and we fought for that. The birth defects that came about as a result of Agent Orange. So there's a lot of things that happened that I got involved with because I wanted to make a difference. And I was just a regular Joe, a regular guy from the very beginning. I met my wife Bonnie in college. We went around to the VFWs that were not welcoming Vietnam veterans. and I gave talks to try to encourage them to let us in. She was playing pool with the veterans, working in the kitchen with the auxiliary. So you can make a difference. And things have changed in this country. They really have, for the good. In the 60s, while I was in Vietnam, things were happening that were very unsettling. Two of the greatest men that ever lived, Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy, were killed. Do you know what that did to us? But we fought through it. And we kept our stand. Today, veterans have gotten more benefits and are getting more attention, even everything from the simplest thank you to the benefits that they now receive. It's still a battle. What can you do? Remember, the vet is your relative. It's your friend or it's your neighbor. Whenever you can, you might not be sending emails to the government regarding legislation, but if you do that, that would be great. But the small things, there's a lot of organizations that help veterans. Some are not so obviously veterans organizations. The Red Cross does a lot of work for the veterans. The USO. Locally, Toys for Tots campaign. A lot of those toys go to disadvantaged children that are the relatives or the offspring of vets. It's all tied together because the veterans are regular people. They're not different. For some reason, way back when, they had a little spark that said, I want to join the service. They did, but they're you. You are them. I'm going to let you know there are 19 million veterans in this country. 1.6 are female. 9.4 million are over the age of 65. I don't know a lot of those 65-year-old vets because I'm only 40. But, but they all are still active. The younger vets, given all things equal, if they apply for a job, give them a second look. It makes a big difference. They make great employees. They're dedicated, they're loyal, and they'll defend you if necessary. Locally, there's a campaign at the Bryn Mawr Plaza called Stockings for Soldiers. Let me tell you about this organization. They sent out 68,000 packages to soldiers in Afghanistan. I'm a combat vet. When I was in Vietnam, the children at Holy Rosary School in Claymont, Delaware, sent me Kool-Aid to put in my water because the halazone tablets to use to purify the water made the water taste so terrible. That meant so much to us. When you send gifts to combat vets, these are your neighbors, your relatives, and your friends that are having bullets, red lights this big, fly by their head, that have bombs being dropped around them. They're scared every single day. Whether you're a combat vet or you're at a base, you're still in harm's way. That little package that you send puts a smile on their face, even if it's only for 1 minute. But it puts a smile on their face. If you can contribute anything that you can, there's a list of stuff that they post. Most things are wanted food, noodles, anything except aerosol cans and bars of soap. Bars of soap because it looks like C4, so they don't want to send that. But I mentioned that because you can do things like that. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Just carry it around in your car. When you drop it off, you did your job. I want to thank you one more time, and I want to end with this statement for all veterans. In 1967, I took an oath to defend this country, the greatest country in the world, and to defend the people who live in it. No one has yet relieved me of that duty.